I am the son of a legal immigrant, and I'll tell you, there is no stronger advocate of legal immigration in the U.S. Senate than I am. If we were to focus on those two areas, we could craft an immigration reform bill that would sail through Congress. Unfortunately, President Obama and the Democrats have made a different decision. Rather than focus on areas of agreement, they have treated immigration as a partisan football. And I believe the single greatest enemy of common sense immigration reform is President Obama. Because their objective was to craft a bill that would be voted down in the House so they could go and campaign on it with a political objective in 2014 and 2016. And I would note, it wasn't that long ago, it was 2007, when then-Senator Barack Obama stuck the knife in the back of immigration reform at the behest of union bosses when it was Republican President George W. Bush who was pushing it. If the Democrats would stop playing politics with immigration, we could pass a common-sense reform bill that secures the border and that improves and streamlines legal immigration. That's what we should be doing. If the so-called Gang of Eight bill had passed into law, it would only have encouraged more and more of these unaccompanied minors coming into this country. We've tried this path before. 30 years ago, America passed amnesty. At the time, there were some 3 million people here illegally. There was a trade that Congress offered to the American people. Congress said, we're going to grant amnesty for those 3 million people. And in exchange, we're going to secure the borders. We're finally going to solve the problem of illegal immigration. Well, we saw what happened. The borders didn't get secured. And as a result of that amnesty, others were incentivized to come. And now 3 million has grown to 11 or 12 million. And if the Gang of Eight bill passed, we would have seen that 11 or 12 million grow potentially to 20 or 30 million in time. Because amnesty, number one, it's profoundly unfair to the millions of legal immigrants, to the millions of men and women and children who followed the rules, who waited in line years, sometimes decades. But number two, amnesty inevitably encourages more illegal immigration. So if the president had forced through the Gang of Eight bill, the result, I think, would have been even more unaccompanied minors coming through. And I would note, in my view, the president never wanted the Gang of Eight bill to pass. We had an exchange in the Senate Judiciary Committee where I offered an amendment to eliminate the path to citizenship. And telling Chuck Schumer, senior Democrat pushing the bill, made very explicit, he said, if there is no citizenship, there can be no reform. Now, regardless of whether you support amnesty or not, it is abundantly clear there are not 218 votes in the House of Representatives for a pathway to citizenship for those who are here illegally. So if your objective is a common-sense immigration reform, tying it to a poison pill that you know will be voted down is not the way you pass legislation. It is the way you get a political issue to campaign on. Well, I think the Gang of Eight bill was a bad bill. I think it would make the problem worse. In the Senate Judiciary Committee, I worked very hard to improve the bill, to actually make it a bill that would fix the problem. So I introduced an amendment, for example, to put real teeth in border security, to actually solve the problem of securing the borders instead of the empty promises that Congress has been giving us over and over and over again. Every Senate Democrat voted against it. I introduced another amendment to increase H-1B visas, temporary high-skilled workers. The reason is simple. The data are overwhelming. That temporary high-skilled workers coming in are pro-growth. Everyone that comes in produces 1.8 American jobs. The current cap is 65,000. I introduced an amendment to increase it fivefold to 325,000. Every single Senate Democrat voted party line against it. And they actually explained why. Senator Schumer was very candid why. He said, we cut a deal with the union bosses. We can't increase the number.